I'm Anne-Marie Barton. Join me as I help homeowners reimagine their spaces, discovering an atmosphere of beauty, peace, and tranquility. From simple changes to sweeping transformations, I'll be sharing my process, tips, and of course, my vision. With the help of 3D renderings, we'll reveal exactly what's possible, creating an environment of beauty where form and function matter. This is the Vision Maker.
Hi, my name is Rachel. Welcome to my house. So the home is a mid-century modern. It was designed by Edward Fickett in 1953, which is also my dad's birth year, which is really special. My husband at the time, my fiance at the time, we were looking at houses. We didn't really want to find one over the holidays, but this one came up and we thought, let's just take a look. What's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen is we fell in love with it, put an offer in, got married, closed on the house, and moved in all within 7 days, which was a lot, but it was really exciting. So this space, it really for me is, I just don't know what to do with it. It's beautiful, it's stunning. I don't really want it to be like a TV room where we sit and watch TV because it feels too nice for that. It feels very cozy. There's the brick behind it, which I don't really want to drill into and have a TV hanging from it. But then there's the vaulted ceilings, and then there's the fireplace, which isn't very symmetrical with the brick. I kind of love it, but I also am very happy to change that. And so there's a lot of just different things going on with it. And it feels like kind of a blank canvas, but also a quirky one. And I don't have the eye. I need help figuring it out.
Oh my gosh, this is a perfect little neighborhood. We're in the San Fernando Valley, and we're looking at more trees than we are roof lines. And that's simply because this really is a mid-century modern neighborhood. And this is the house we're visiting. I love that it's blue. I love these roof lines, and I know it's gonna feel a little vintage inside. I'm excited. Let's go. Hello.
Hi there, I'm Rachel.
I'm Anne-Marie.
Nice to meet you.
You?
This is my husband, Kevin.
Welcome,
Hey,
I'm Kevin.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Now, I think what I've heard is you like one of the jobs on my website.
I do.
And I think it is called Mid-Century
It
Modern.
sure is.
I did that on purpose, but it's because I actually love that style as well. And I like it mixed with kind of soft living that makes us feel like we're just oozing between room and room.
Yes.
And everything's soft, and inviting. Well, let me see if you can visualize this fireplace. Okay, cool. My idea was to bring it all the way up. Can you just imagine this going to the ceiling, meeting that line right there?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and all one material.
Okay.
Basically, this would either get ripped off or we'd paint it and continue the same above.
Okay.
But we have to clean the firebox. That's your job.
That's my job.
Not my job.
So we're not dealing with a television.
Right.
But what we do have here that we can love is the indoor-outdoor vibe. So I think I would focus kind of like where y'all are sitting.
Okay.
Maybe scoot back just a little bit in your sofa. All right, and then we have this plush sofa in this area. So you're just taking this in, a really cozy coffee table, but yet maybe some ottomans to kick around, something fluffy, something soft, because I know you like that.
I do.
And then I'm thinking maybe a couple of chairs here that can kind of unite and talk to the dining table, but otherwise focus on conversation.
Okay.
And then there's something called the daddy chair. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's where I guess the dad sits and reads a paper and has a cup of coffee. Is that the daddy?
Yeah.
Are you the daddy?
I guess so, yeah.
So we all love a chair like that.
That's
And
hilarious.
a chair, an ottoman, usually a side table for a drink.
Yes.
So we got to have the daddy, couple of swivels, a soft sofa for you to lay in, and then some movable coffee tables. It's almost like, remember the era of the TV dinner?
Oh,
Yeah.
This is where you'd have it, and that's kind of fun.
I love that.
All right, let's go outside. Let's see how we could build on that vibe on the inside.
Love it.
Wow. Okay, first of all, you probably bought the house mostly because of the backyard.
Oh, it's nice.
Love it.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It just looks a little crummy. So what are we gonna do? I think we need to pull up some of this and redo it. I think we need to paint or restain this fence to feel fresh.
Yep.
But the biggest idea I have is getting rid of these corbels.
Oh.
Do you see
okay.
those? These are sort of like a mix of Western and traditional.
Okay.
I think I'd rather just see the post going straight up.
Okay.
And it also makes it feel shorter, you know, because of that angle.
Right.
Yeah.
So just a little quick tip, and you can always paint white after that. You yourself can do that paint job.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, how would you feel about painting the whole house?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about it.
Open
I
to it,
hated
yeah.
saying it.
Yeah.
No,
When I
please
walked
don't.
up, I thought if this whole house was one light color,
Yeah.
then we would concentrate on the architecture.
Right.
Edward Fickett. Well, let's celebrate, you know?
Okay.
And right now we're distracted by all of the blue.
Yeah.
So what if we smooth that out? We saw our architecture, and then we cleaned up this area back here, and then had some lounge seating, because you live in
it.
California and you get to sit outside more often.
Yep.
I live in Salt Lake City, and it not. I don't like to talk
often.
about. Would you ever do a hot tub?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
I mean, I would.
Yes.
This is fantastic. Okay, you've already got a platform.
Yep.
You
Yep.
just need to create a little structure underneath that.
Yep.
Now, it'll probably be something we don't love, so make sure to think about cladding it with a wood around it. So
Okay.
we're not
Okay.
looking at a plastic jacuzzi.
Right.
Okay,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yep.
But this is a perfect spot. And then I don't know what's going on here. This is, I'm not sure.
We don't know.
But it might be a good place for a garden.
Yeah.
You could do a lovely planter that went the entire size of that.
yeah.
And then you had beautiful things, but also herbs.
Yep.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're ready to settle down. You've just been married 3 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. And you bought a house.
Yes.
Okay. Next,
Yeah.
you know what? A garden. I won't go
Fair.
into the rest. But lovely seating, hot tub, clean, more greenery.
Yeah.
This area right here is an opportunity. Oh my gosh, this could be taller plants. I'd rip every one of these things out and
Okay.
start over and paint that house.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll go in and you have to go to work, is
I
that
do.
right?
I have to get back to work.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll get into a few more details.
Have fun.
All right. So here we are. We're gonna have our sofa in this area. We'll have a table across the back, and this is where we'd have that collage of art.
Yes.
You might have all different sizes, all different colors,
Okay.
but I think together that would be kind of cool.
Okay.
All right. And then the daddy chair
Yep.
and ottoman. And then, of course, here are our two swivels.
Okay.
I love the idea of this having a kind of a unique shape, and then tossing around a few ottomans just to make it informal.
Okay.
And you know what's missing? A big rug.
Oh, yeah,
So we
of
got to
course.
get a large rug in this space to make it cozy.
Okay.
And I kind of picture everything light.
Yeah.
You know, these days I use texture rather than color more
Yeah,
often.
yeah. I love that.
And then you can obviously have it in your artwork.
Yeah.
And here is an opportunity we talked about. for
Yes.
The color that might be, the brick.
Yep.
Whether it's white or maybe it is kind of a cool beige
Okay.
that adds into the space, or you keep it natural brick,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
Let's paint the color of the house.
Absolutely.
Let's clean the yard.
Yeah.
A new light by the front door. We're set. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you so much. It was really sweet. Like, she was so warm and nice, and like her ideas were things that like I had thought of some of them before, and so it was really nice to kind of be validated with that, and then to have her vision for all of the things that I had no idea about, and get her understanding of what she would do with this space.
This house gave me a lot of opportunity to envision because they had nothing in it. They're actually in the middle of remodeling this house. So I came in the nick of time. That's what they tell me. So I can't wait to see what they actually do. And I'm excited to draw up that great room and make it cozy, mid-century modern, stained beams, vintage pieces. All right, we'll see. You know, we've all heard the term mid-century modern, and it's been overused, frankly. But when I arrived at this home, it was authentic mid-century modern, and Edward Fickett was the real deal. So I went in with a lot of respect for the era, and I also wanted to give it my respect. So walking in, it was this new, cute young couple. They'd just gotten married, and what I loved is their wonder about how to handle this space and pay homage to that term, mid-century modern. I started with beams. In their home right now, we're painted white beams, basically. We know that we need that natural nutmeg, walnut look when it comes to mid-century modern. This is a big player. This color of wood is ever present. I love a round rug under their round table with their vintage chairs, and above it, the bubble glass chandelier with the bronze glass. And that really hit for me to bring back that feeling that this home really just authentically delivers. Now let's go to the fireplace. We know it's a little short. It didn't really add up. And remember, when you walk into a space, you need a focal point. Not a lot of focal points, but definitely one defined spot to look. For them, it's going to be the fireplace. So I wanted to find something that wasn't natural stone, that was actually really more of a tile. And this is the one I chose because I loved all of the gentle lines and the texture. I thought this really spoke to mid-century modern. The sofa had to be leather, and I went with a suede because for me, I always love the touch and I don't want things too slick. And they don't have children yet, but we can protect this if we need to. And of course, we know in mid-century modern, oranges and brick tones really elevate. So against that, we have a really beautiful wood vintage chair with, again, a soft nubby boucle for comfort. I had a choice to make. What to do with that brick. So I tried it both ways. First, I sandblasted it in my rendering. I wanted to see what it would look like to bring it out. Then as it goes, I made a different decision and I decided I needed the calm that the painted brick gave. And I picked my favorite color of white, which is called shaded white. Always good to know. There are so many. But this is the calm in the room, and the wood beams are the comment, the structure, and the architecture. I decided we needed one little pop of yellow. So I actually bring this and this terrazzo-like tile into the kitchen. You don't necessarily see it, but when you put all of this together, it definitely whispers mid-century modern. The big deal in this whole remodel was the idea of the outside coming in. And you can see we had windows and doors, but nothing cohesive and not a large opening. So I added multi-slide doors so we could just leave it wide open and go from one to the other. When I think about them living in the space, I think they're going to be excited to have friends over. I think they're going to be proud of their space. I loved working on this space, and I really wanted to be authentic in my approach.